Some breaking news from the UK, where Prime Minister Keir Starmer's Chief of Staff, Morgan McSweeney, has resigned. This comes after mounting pressure over Starmer's appointment of Peter Mandelson as ambassador to the United States, despite ties to late sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. McSweeney has called the decision wrong and said that it has not only damaged the ruling Labour Party, but also damaged the country. Al Jazeera's Sonia Gallego is in London. What do you know about this, Sonia?
Well, what we do indeed know is that this comes after weeks of intense speculation surrounding this particular issue. And it really is down to the fact that the release of the Epstein files that really actually drew this into sharp focus. Namely, again, it came to that question of exactly how Peter Mandelson, a Labour stalwart, came to be approved to be the British ambassador to the US as well. This is a question that came time and time again, that never seemed to stop being raised again, because of course it wasn't a secret that Peter Mandelson himself had ties to the late sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. But it was also a case of, if this had been known, then why was he put in such a position? Why was that decision made to put him in such a powerful diplomatic role as well? That is the question that has been swirling around. And as the apologies have been coming in from Downing Street, from the Prime Minister himself, the blame now seems to be firmly being placed on Number 10's Chief of Staff, Morgan McSweeney, who himself was a protege of Peter Mandelson. Peter Mandelson supported his career earlier on in Labour. Morgan McSweeney then took it upon himself to form a think tank which was very much responsible for the victory of Keir Starmer and Labour in the last general election. He is himself a powerful figure. But of course, the relationship between Morgan McSweeney and Peter Mandelson has come under intense scrutiny, and that is certainly a pressure which the Prime Minister, who himself is in a weaker position, is not one that he's able to feel he can tolerate right now.
And Sonia, there will be those, possibly many, who will look at this news and say, well, the Chief of Staff is falling on his sword to protect the Prime Minister because the Prime Minister's job was under threat because of this scandal. I know it's impossible for anyone to say right now whether Starmer will be able to keep this job, how far the scandal is going to go, but just what signals will you be watching over the coming days and weeks to see where this might be headed?
Well, we've seen the signals already focusing in on Morgan McSweeney himself. And part of the problem, a lot of insiders are saying, is really down to the fact that the Prime Minister himself is not seen to be a political animal. His political instincts aren't as sharply honed as maybe as that of other leaders as well. You have to remember that the Prime Minister himself comes from a legal background. He was a human rights lawyer and perhaps is lacking in some of those instincts that other politicians would have as well. But it is very difficult to tell whether this is actually going to have an effect right now. But what we do know and what we do understand very well is the fact that Keir Starmer himself is not a popular figure in this country at the moment. The popularity of the Labour Party in itself the levels are really quite low as well. And you've got a by-election coming up in Manchester and local elections coming up in May. And that is going to be a real test of whether Keir Starmer is going to be a help or a hindrance to the Labour Party remaining in government.
Sonia Gallego, thank you very much for your reporting on this from London.